Day 7 of Ravens training camp just wrapped up. We had big days from Tyler Loop, TJ Tampa, Awuzie. We'll get into all the practice notes and highlights from today. We also hear from John Harbaugh, Charlie Kolar, all that and more in today's episode of the Flock Rundown.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Day 7 of Ravens training camp just wrapped up. Hot one today. Another day in pads, third straight day in pads. And a lot of veterans got some time off today. They were more limited. We'll start with who was there. Still got Emory Jones Jr. on the non-football injury list. Darius Washington on the PUP. Bilal Kone still out. Jalen Armour Davis still out, although the MRI came back fine and he should be back soon. We also had new absences from running back Marcus Major, Zay Flowers, who John Harbaugh said is dealing with a camp thing and he'll be back in a few days as well. Same with Bilal Kone. And then obviously no Isaiah Likely today.
I think the timeline I saw actually was accurate on the timeline that was reported. So we got a shot to get him back there right away early. We'll see. So that's the good news. You know, it's early in camp and it's not one of those major type of deals. So, but it's something, you know, it's multiple weeks.
It is confirmed that he has a small foot fracture. He's getting immediate surgery, and it looks like the timetable for recovery is around 6 weeks. Could be a little less, could be a little more. 6 weeks from today puts him at week 2 versus the Browns. So some point in the first month of the season, I think we should see Isaiah Likely come back. I don't want them to rush it at all. I don't feel like Isaiah or the team should rush him back at all. A fractured foot is something that could linger if you get back too soon and aggravate it in any type of way. And we have great tight ends, man. You know, Mark Andrews is an all-pro tight end. I know a lot of Ravens fans have been hard on him, but he's going to ball with Isaiah Likely out. You know, this guy is going to pick up the slack for sure. Charlie Kolar's no slouch either. We'll talk about him a lot more today. We heard him talk to the media too, and his role is about to expand, but Isaiah Likely should be fine. I think this is good news, you know, for how bad it sounded yesterday. I figured he'd be back in a few weeks, like Harbaugh said, but now we have a real timetable, and it looks like first couple weeks of the season we should get Likely back, and we got a gauntlet of games to start the season. You know, we got that week 2 game's not as bad versus the Browns. The Browns are never that easy, but I do think we should handle business there. But week 3, Detroit Lions. Week 4, Kansas City Chiefs. These are tough games, and I would love Likely to get back, but if he's not fully healthy, I think that he should take the month off then. Like, we don't need him back right away. I want a healthy Isaiah Likely for the entire season and especially into the playoffs. So no need to rush this injury back. It definitely sucks. It's not ideal. You know, I want Likely and Andrews out there, and Likely's out here hunting for an extension and a new contract. So this is not an ideal situation by any means, but it also isn't the worst situation in the world. You know, it's not a season-ending injury. He's not out for months. I don't even think he'll be out for many games of the regular season. So wishing and praying for a speedy recovery for Isaiah Likely. Diving into the practice today, Tyler Loop was perfect on the day, 9 for 9 with the longest of 53 yards. He's 37 for 40 in team drills throughout training camp, so it's pretty good. When you're watching day-to-day, sometimes you can get caught up in like, man, he's inconsistent, or this was a really bad day, you know, missing 3 straight short field goals. He didn't have a great day. And while that is true, that's not a great day, and he would probably admit that as well. 37 for 40 throughout camp, and the ability to hit from longer distances. I think Tyler Loop's leg is definitely bigger than John Hoyland and is going to be able to hit a lot further field goals. So I still think this is Tyler Loop's job to lose. I'm not writing John Hoyland off by any means. This is definitely a true kicking competition, but the Ravens drafted Tyler Loop. He's able to kick from further distances and is also stacking a lot of good practices together. So while there be some up and down days, I think there's going to be up and down days for both guys. I'm excited to see them in the preseason. I think that'll tell a lot as well, but I think Tyler Loop's, looked pretty good throughout training camp so far. Defense had a very strong day today. Jeff Zrebiec tweeted that they won the practice 63-36 in the Ravens practice scoring system, and it didn't even feel that close. Big day from TJ Tampa. He had an end zone interception. Really nice practice overall. Had a couple couple pass breakups as well. Awuzie and Beau Brade also have very strong practices today. Beau Brade's out there hitting people every day, had another big hit today. Awuzie making multiple plays, and I think they're really starting to string together some practices here.
Chidobe Awuzie and Beau Brade, very busy today. Starting with Awuzie, he had a really nice pass breakup. He also had a play that should have been an interception. Lamar threw it right through his hands, and he ended up dropping it. Not a sharp day for the offense, and Awuzie was a big part of that. He was all over the field, very busy today. He's honestly had a really strong camp when he's been on the field for the Ravens. Beau Brade, I've been talking a lot about Beau Brade. He has been very active with the pads, very active. I talked about him hitting Keaton Mitchell yesterday, still blowing Keaton up. I mean, he legit came through the hole on one of these runs from Keaton on the inside, and he just lowered his shoulder. It wasn't a late hit or anything. Just laid the boom to Keaton. Just laid the boom to him, and Keaton has been a good sport about it all. He's gotten up. Keaton actually had a nice touchdown run in the red zone today too. So, I think he's embracing this right now, but Beau Brade has been on a roll as of late, and I asked John Harbaugh about him, and John seemed like he's been impressed with Beau as well. TJ Tampa had an interception today. Tampa's also stacking practices as well. Hasn't flashed a whole lot, but I don't necessarily see Tampa doing much wrong out there either. And these receivers are tough to cover, so he's had his hands full, but TJ Tampa did have a good day today.
Like I said earlier, a lot of the starters didn't get a ton of reps today, so we saw a lot from the backups, and the backup offense altogether struggled. A lot of penalties, drop balls. The defensive line was getting a ton of pressure. We heard from Cordell last night in the live. If you haven't watched that yet, definitely go watch the live last night. It's only 30 minutes, and it's jam-packed with insider training camp info that you just can't get anywhere else. So definitely go watch the live from last night. But he was talking about how he's confident in the offensive line and the starters, but not very confident in what's behind him. And Ronnie Stanley didn't get a ton of reps today since a lot of the vets weren't getting a ton of reps. So Noteboom played quite a bit today, and this is what Cordell saw from him.
Some of the veterans were given breaks today. So Ronnie Stanley didn't practice a lot, which gave a big opportunity to Noteboom. And Noteboom, I watched him a couple of reps. Mixed bag. I mean, it's no reps to really write home about. He did have one rep in particular in my mind where he stood up Peebles. He stood up Fub, as you guys like to call him. But yeah, it was just good to see Noteboom get some action today, especially with the starting O-line.
Strong day from the pass rush, getting a ton of pressure on the quarterbacks. Tavius Robinson had a strong day. He had a bat down and a sack early in practice. He had another tip later on, was very active against the run. Adisa Isaac had a strong practice, including a nasty spin move during a pass rush drill. Mike Green had a really nice win against Gerard Lichtenhahn. Rashad Bateman was at practice, but didn't get a ton of reps today. But LaJohntay Wester might have had his best practice today, was catching multiple balls, and that's been the thing that he's been struggling with. We've been hearing from reports saying that he's been dropping balls the last few practices. I spoke to Cordell in the live last night about that. He said that yesterday even LaJohntay was still dropping balls. He also had dropped a few punts, but today was not the case. He had his best day, probably got his most opportunity today as well, with guys like Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman not really practicing. LaJohntay Wester got a lot more opportunity and ran with it today. Speaking of opportunity, Charlie Kolar is about to get a lot more opportunity through the rest of this offseason and probably earlier in the regular season as well, with the Isaiah Likely injury. George Godsey, the tight ends coach, spoke to the media today. He called Charlie one of the smartest players on the team.
One of the smartest players that I've been around. He knows everybody's responsibility. He knows what plays next on Coach Monken's sheet. He has a very good intuition defensively of what's going on. So we put a lot of pressure on him to go out there and react and to play fast too. So he's putting that all together, and now we just got to see it, for full 4 quarters. That's what we're looking at.
Charlie Kolar also spoke about his contract situation, which I haven't even talked about a ton, but all 3 tight ends are free agents: Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, and Charlie Kolar. So he is also fighting for another deal. Now, I know he's not in the same, pay scale and category as Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews when it comes to contracts, but regardless, Charlie Kolar is an unrestricted free agent next year. So he's fighting for another deal. This opportunity is going to be a big opportunity for him, and he's shined in the past. Great blocking tight end, expanding as a receiver, and is continuously trying to expand his game. But he spoke to the media today and talked about that contract.
The good news is the practices are so hard that it's hard to worry about the future that much because I can't see straight when it's so hot. And no, that's not true because I don't want to get put in the protocol. I'm good. I can see straight. I am healthy. I was just joking. But what was the question again? Contract situation, yes. Yeah, obviously, you can't help but sometimes think about it. I think a big part of it is just what can I control? What can I control right now? So I can't control what they do. I can't control worrying about it. I can't control anything like that. All I can control is how do I put my best foot forward so when the time comes to negotiate, I have a really good body of work to show and stand on. So I don't know. I think my parents really did a good job raising me with trying to focus on the important things and let the future play out as it is. But obviously you can't help but think about it sometimes.
Even though a lot of veterans had a lighter workload today, Mark Andrews did not. He was out there pretty much the full practice. At one point he made a nice catch against Malachi Starks, who landed on him after the play. Later, Andrews drew a defensive pass interference call in the end zone on Roquan Smith. In the one-on-one period, DeAndre Hopkins got some late separation from Jair Alexander. TJ Tampa had a few good reps, including a punch-out pass breakup on Tez Walker. Marlon Humphrey and Kyle Hamilton both had pass breakups. Malik Cunningham made a nice catch on Malachi Starks despite good coverage. Anthony Miller, who seems to make at least one tough catch a day, had one in that period as well against Jair Alexander. And DeAndre Hopkins had a nice day today as well. Multiple catches, one over Jair Alexander. He just continues to make plays throughout camp as well. I know a ton of the veterans didn't get a lot of reps today, but DeAndre Hopkins making the most of them and is going to be a huge asset for this team, especially with Likely going out. I think DeAndre Hopkins' role expands a little bit more. I know Charlie Kolar, Mark Andrews' roles will obviously expand, but I think it also gives more targets to the receivers because Lamar was going to go to Likely too, at least a couple times a game. So those throws are now going to get spread out to other guys, and I think DeAndre Hopkins could really benefit. So expecting big things from DeAndre Hopkins this year. Really, really excited that he's on this team. That's pretty much it from today. We got practice again tomorrow. They're going to be in shells though, no pads tomorrow, and then no practice on Friday, and then back to it Saturday, stadium practice Sunday. Back practice Monday, joint practices next week. Training camp will keep rolling on. So excited for all of that. Joint practices next week is going to be super fun. We also got preseason action next week. So cannot wait, man. Football is back. Let me know what you guys are thinking about everything. Appreciate you guys, as always, for tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day. And I'll let the greatest linebacker in the history of the game take us out.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. The Flock Rundown. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.